Good morning. Sorry guys, I know I'm a little bit late. Hello. Good morning. I was doing orders and stuff really late last night and I just was real tired. Oh, I gotta put this on. I'm gonna be out of milk here shortly. I gotta add that to the list. No good. How's everyone doing? Everyone good? Everyone having an interesting, lovely, quiet, whatever morning? Yes, absolutely. Going to get more coffee. Heard. This milk is almost all gone. I need to go to Target today. Hey B, what's up? What is up? What? Whoop. Oh my goodness. All right. Let's see. We need milk. Half and half. I need to go to Target apparently. All of this stuff is from Target except for that, which is Costco. Oh man, you got money, Team Walmart. I got money? I don't think I got money. I'm not Team Walmart though. I'm definitely Team Target. What? I think maybe I'm not understanding. What's everyone else drinking this morning? Everyone, all the beverage goblins got their, because it's more money. Target is not actually that much more money, but I also feel very strongly about putting my money where my mouth is and not giving too much money or any that I can avoid to places that don't support the same causes that I do. And Target definitely aligns more politically with me than Walmart does. So I would rather shop at Target, even if it's going to cost me a little bit more, than worry about like hurting my friends long term, you know? There's only one thing that I get at Walmart, and it's because it's not sold anywhere else, and I feel bad every time I do it. It's really not, Ashley. It's really not that much cheaper than other places, especially if you have, like, I have a Target card specifically, so I get all the discounts and everything. Yeah, it's not that much cheaper. And actually, glue is generally cheapest at Target, believe it or not. Walmart is terrible to their employees. No, thank you. Yeah, exactly, Amanda. So that's something that always concerns me. Yeah. So, yeah. So even though Target might cost me like a couple bucks more every month or whatever, it's worth it to me to try to be good about it, you know? So it's not even about me having money. It's just about like trying to put my money where my mouth is. You know, I can't complain about stuff if I'm not going to vote with my wallet, if you will. Target app helps save. It does. And also if you have the Target card, you automatically get extra money off, which I do because I shop there so much for like supplies and stuff. It's true. Hey, Kaylee, good morning. What's up, girl? How you feeling today? First day post-op? How are you feeling? You also use the right card? Yeah, Amanda, it makes a big difference. It really does. Coffee. You're feeling okay? All right, excellent. We love feeling okay. Okay is better than Every time I go to Target, I spend too much money. I go with lists. I'm not one of those people that goes into Target and it ends up leaving with like things that weren't on my list. I'm very regimented. So like I buy my glue, I buy milk, I buy like groceries, whatever, any supplies that I need, shampoo, laundry detergent, whatever, and then I'm done. I don't really have time, unfortunately, to be like, I would love to be one of those things that were like, I love the like wander through Target and just like do whatever thing, but I just don't have the time for it right now, unfortunately. I love it. I think it's a fun concept, and I like when I'm telling my sister, go have a day by yourself, that's what I send her to do. Did my comment through go? No, it got blocked. Why would Willow get blocked? That's so weird. If I didn't have a list, I would go rogue for sure. I wish Target would bring back more fresh popcorn. I didn't know that they had. Oh, right. Like back in the day. Now I agree on spending too much. Target tells me what to. That's very funny, Amanda. Yeah, I didn't see it, Haley. Not at all. Why would Willow get blocked? Was it something else in the comment? I don't know. Willow. Oh, I miss Retro Target Snack Spot. I forgot all about that, Kaylee. I used a word starting with stupid. Oh. Huh. Interesting. Okay, well, let's read because I do have to take Zoe to dance today and I have to go pick her up. We have one Target with the cafe. Nice. It might just be, yeah, I don't know what that is. But anyway, I'm going to read so that I can take Zoe to dance. It's going to be great. But anyway, I felt that way. I asked if Willow was a pet or a breed. I was confused. Oh, Willow is my friend Autumn's dog. I'm so sorry, Haley. I didn't realize that you didn't understand. Guys, my pump decided to stop giving me insulin at 2 a.m. Oh, God, that's terrible. Rose, I'm so sorry. Haley, Willow is Autumn's dog. Yeah, my best friend's dog. Yep. All right. So let's do chapter 48. That's not a mod block word. It's probably a TikTok thing. Yeah, that's what I figured. I figured we wouldn't block that ourselves. That's so weird, Amanda. Huh. So weird. I guess we better be careful. All right, here we go. Chapter 48. We drove for almost a whole day, and not a lot of interaction happened between anyone aboard the stolen armored tram. We did stop after a few hours to bury Sam in the radiation grounds of British Columbia, though. Sloane fought back tears most of the way through the small ceremony, but Blue, who hadn't actually stopped crying since we'd gotten back on the road, didn't. I tucked Sam's Zune into my pocket while Beck, Piper, and Archimedes finished the grave. Thanks for the tunes, Sam, I said. I'll see you around. We ended up silently standing around the fresh grave for a few minutes because no one really knew what to say until Sloane said, "He was a fat man, like really big and noisy." Since last words weren't coming to anyone else, we all just headed back to the armored car, which, if I hadn't explained before, wasn't exactly a car because it was massive, like about the size of a train engine with a lot more room. The inside was furnished like a mega RV or something with some kind of separate rooms in the back, bathroom, and even a kitchen area. Most of these amenities, though, were hundreds of years old and probably, definitely looked like it. Blue also took advantage of the lull in the pandemonium to remove the hook from my shoulder blade and chest. I'm not going to go into great detail about how she did it or how I was feeling during surgery, but suffice to say, it didn't take too long and hurt like Helheim. Blue stopped crying when she started working on me and was strong until she was wrapping my torso in some gauze she found in the car, and then her tears came back and her hands began shaking. "I'm sorry," she whispered, shaking her head as if to clear the sad thoughts from her mind. I tried to comfort her the best I could, and she stood suddenly and walked to the back of the long armored rig where Sloane was trying to sleep. That left me with Piper and her new man in the main cabin. Beck had already resumed driving after Blue had finished the most tedious part of the hook removal, so there I was, naked from the waist up with half-done bandaging job in front of my ex and her new boyfriend. And I couldn't have cared less. Death is an absolute thing. Watching Sam die had more of an effect on me than the hook, but Red sacrificing herself to try and shake our pursuers was the worst part of the recent events. Piper sat beside me and started finishing on Blue's wrapping while Archimedes sat across from us silently. Yeah, right? I told you, Haley. Totally. Just like a different hair type. Yeah. It's cute, right? I don't know. It felt cute. Twinsies. I had sort of had to hand it to the guy because he was a pretty patient sort. Had I been in his position, I most likely would have made a fool of myself by now, but he didn't, choosing instead to lean back into the bench with his arms crossed. I didn't look at him much, but when I did, I couldn't read his face. That probably had to do with my not caring about the awkwardness anymore. I winced when Piper cinched for the last time and let out a small groan. Blue would have done a better job, she said. I shrugged and winced again before Archimedes surprised me by saying, if we don't get the proper meds for him soon, he's going to be in really bad shape. He has a name, and he can hear everything you're saying. I said, I thought it was Piper for a second. Hey, Shelley, are you ready to fly? He has a name, and he can hear everything that you're saying, I said, glancing at him. I'm guessing that you're famous, Archimedes. The famous Archimedes that I've heard so much about. Guilty, he said, smiling. Sorry for not addressing you directly, but you look pretty bad off, to be honest. Not really, but I'll have to be. Fair enough. Piper looked at him like he'd just told a kid that Santa Claus wasn't real, and so I decided to clear the air a bit. I'm the guy who died after Piper left here. Archimedes thought about that for a second before pointing out the elephant in the room. And yet you're here. May I ask how? That doesn't matter much, Piper cut in, standing. I rather think it does, Pipe, Ark said, leaning forward and putting his elbows on his knees, lacing his fingers together. The only reason our relationship existed was because he was dead. I frowned. Geez, I thought I was being forward. This guy really cut to the chase. Piper didn't look like she was digging this particular topic and said, Nothing's changed. Ark smiled at that, even though his next words were, even if you don't go back to him, it still wouldn't matter. It's really fine. Really. That's unfair, Piper countered. You never talked about the person you lost either. Why don't people name their kids Archimedes anymore? Bullying? Probably. I'm guessing bullying. Because mine didn't die, he said. Piper stopped talking. It's not anything you're thinking, he said. It was my brother. But he's still alive, I said, so how did you lose him? Ark looked at me with an odd sort of smile on his face that was, as I've said, terribly difficult to read. It's complicated, he told me. We only had each other to rely on growing up, but he decided to pursue a lifestyle I couldn't cope with, and I haven't seen him since. I frowned, narrowing my heavy eyes at him. That's it? When he nodded, I said, kinda lame, don't you think? Jericho, Piper said, looking at me like I'd confessed Santa's non-existence to a kid. No, he's right, Archimedes told her, still smiling and giving a small shrug. Coming back from the dead is a lot more interesting than a meaningless family dispute, as far as I'm concerned. But you always acted... I guess I just assumed, Piper was trying to say. That I lost the love of my life like you did? Ark asked her. Loss is loss, whenever it's someone you care about, Piper. I didn't want to pry about your reasons, so you never felt the need to pry about mine. I couldn't help thinking how soap opera-like this whole thing was. Was someone you thought was dead for 3 years or 6 seasons showing up later to throw a monkey wrench in a fantastic relationship with the other protagonists that were only there because the first guy was supposedly dead? Some root for the guy that came back from the dead because they didn't want him to die in the first place, while other people root for the new guy because he's been patiently getting all of the attention for the last few years. People die all the time, and they believe people should move on. I'm not sure which of those two categories you, my friend, fall into, and I'm not going to try to persuade you in either direction. Can we call secret boyfriend Archimedes? Yeah, I don't think he'll care. He's pretty chill about it. You can call him Archimedes. It's a nice name. He does love Sword in the Stone, and isn't the owl in Sword in the Stone named Archimedes? That was his favorite Disney movie when he was a kid, Sword in the Stone. He definitely took a picture with the sword when we went to Disneyland. Little Once and Future King action. You never saw it? Oh, Shelley, it's real cute. Yeah, it is a great movie, Anya. It's great. It is really cute. Yeah. I think Archimedes is the name of the owl. Pretty sure. Merlin's owl's name is Archimedes. So, what side are you on of this soap opera? Are you rooting for Piper to be with the new guy or to be with Jericho? Are you team Ark or are you team Jericho? I realized recently that I almost exclusively watch TV movies with female protagonists. That's fair. It is. We love that movie. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a really good one. Very well done. Yeah, I like it. I also like the book that it's based on. If you all don't know, Sword in the Stone is not just based on the Arthur tale. It's based specifically on the Once and Future King, which is a novel based on the Arthur tale. It's a really great book. I actually meant to give a copy of that. Like, I have a copy of it, and I was going to loan it to Secret Boyfriend so that he can read it. I'm Team New Guy. I think ship Piper and Jericho, but she seems happy. She does seem happy. As a kid, I watched I Told by Ginger, but not Jimmy Neutron. I didn't watch either, Shelley. I didn't watch either. I don't know if I'm Team Mark or if I'm Team Jericho. I'm really not sure. They used to have a whole ceremony at Disneyland where someone pulled the sword. They still do. They still do. You're Team Piper? True. I'm Team Piper. Yeah. All right, well, we'll see what happens. But if I had to choose which one I'm in, I definitely would say that people do indeed die all the time. Though moving on isn't as hard as some might think. Whether Piper wanted me back or not, I had made my choice. Don't worry, man, I said to Archimedes. I didn't come back from the dead to win anyone back. Call me hard, cruel, whatever you want. But Piper wasn't going to happen for me. Plus, I was going to be dead in a few days anyway, but I wasn't about to mention that. Not to mention that you're going to be dead in a few days if you don't do something about it, Ark said. Man, this guy was relentless. So what's your plan on that exactly? I've never seen it anymore. I'll have to look out for it. I think it's pretty random, but like there's moments when like the sword can still come up. Jericho's not going to die. That call from the driver's seat. Stop spreading gloom and doom, genius. Actually, it's possible at this point, I muttered dryly, touching my feverish forehead. Jeez, I was tired. Unless you figure out what you're going to tell yourself, Piper ventured, you wouldn't really have just randomly showed up on your deathbed for no reason. I agree, Ark said, nodding. Whatever he had to say, you must have been Whatever he had to say, you must have been a way not to end up dying as he had. Whatever he had to say to you, I missed that part, sorry. Wow, that was really confusing. Jericho didn't come back from the dead intentionally. That's true, he didn't. Plot twist. Becomes Team Jericho. Yeah. Ooh, and the new guy. I agree, Ark said. Okay, there we go. I stood. Look, it was nice meeting you, Ark, but I'm going to go lie down and sleep for the rest of my life. Sleep when you're dead, Beck said, glancing over her shoulder at me. Don't worry, though, because you'll only have to wait 2 more days. Piper didn't like that and jumped all over Beck about not helping, and I was already heading back for the rocking car to the back of the rocking car to sleep. I just had to. Blue and Sloane were in the left side of the compartment, so when I took the right side, stepping into the semi-spacious room with the bed and the small closet, pulling the sliding door shut behind me before sitting on the squeaking bed. For a few minutes, I just sat there, willing meaningless thoughts to arise so I didn't have to live in the hell that I was in now. My first and only thought that I had before collapsing back into my situation was how odd it was that the armored car Beck had stolen was pretty clean for a rig owned by the undead. The next thought I had was how Sam's face had looked before he died, and I ran my good hand over my peach fuzz buzz cut, dropping my head low and shaking it while squeezing my eyes shut. I just couldn't believe it. Sam and Red, both dying, was because I wasn't able to do anything to stop it. I'd seen my fair share of death for a guy who, by all normal accounts, should be teaching history to college students and not, in fact, roaming the future in the year 2345 on a mad quest for revenge. Revenge. The words stood out in my mind. I opened my eyes and the fading light across the cabin. Cross. He was the one who had put a hit out on me in the first place, and who also gave me stupid powers that made everyone I met fall in line behind me like I was some kind of god, following me to their deaths. He was the one to blame for all of this, for everything.
all of the lives lost so far I placed on his head. Let's be friends until we die. I closed my eyes again. You've done enough for me, Paladin. Now it's my turn. I gritted my teeth, digging my nails into my scalp. Don't fight it. Fight what? I asked the air in a menacing whisper. I need to be able to fight for I needed to be able to fight hours ago, and now everyone is dead and there's nothing left to... Don't fight it, a female voice whispered in the dark. I opened my eyes and glanced around the room. What little light that was spilling through the porthole was gone now, and I was almost enveloped in darkness while I checked to see who was talking. What am I fighting? I asked out loud, and then my head became fuzzy. Sleep. What? I slurred before falling back into bed. I vaguely remembered seeing a silhouette standing over me, literally because I almost felt feet on either side of my rib cage while the shrouded figure peered down at me. I was going crazy, surely. I even tried to ask if I was, but I only got, crazy? No, the shade said. Sleep, Jericho. And my eyes fluttered shut and I was out. What? 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 I don't know, man. Because no, you won't, you'll be. Morning, Kelly. Sasha, why are you making it lines to confuse us? I don't know, man. I want to sleep while I'm alive. I mean, fair. All right, chapter 49. Jericho. I sat straight up, gasping for air. It was still dark in my room and also a bit gusty, like really windy, actually. What's the deal? I asked in the general direction of my door. Are you guys trying to freeze me to death? Stand up. What now? I asked, frowning. Why was it so dark in here? Get off the ground and onto your feet. And then I realized my hands were touching snow instead of sheets, and I gasped, giving a start and wincing against the pain that I didn't feel. I stood instantly and touched my wounded shoulder, except I wasn't wounded anymore. The bandages were even gone, and I was back in my Paladin garb with my hood on. Awesome, I said. My first actual dream in months, and it's a good one. Nailed it. Walk. It was dark everywhere I looked, so I had no way of knowing where I was or anything in my surroundings. I had a good 2 feet range of visibility, and I might have been freaking out if I hadn't been dreaming. Well, where am I going? I asked, taking my first steps in the crunching snow beneath me. Forward. Since it was my dream, and it was looking to be a lucid event, I decided that I didn't have to be serious about the mythical-sounding female voice. I know I'm going forward, genius. I want to know my destination. The woman's voice remained silent at that, but I kept walking anyway, relishing the feeling of not having blinding pain with every step. I'm not sure how long I'd been walking when I started seeing mountainous landscapes in the distance. Invigorated at the sight, I picked up the pace. I wasn't sure what I was looking at until I got closer. I thought it was a city at first, but when I finally stopped at the stone-columned gate leading into the city, I decided it wasn't a city at all, but something else. Something big else, too. Go inside. Ah, you're back, I said, glancing skyward. So hearing voices is nothing new to me, so who's the real victim here? Enter the citadel. Shrugging, I walked between the off-white columns that now looked like a citadel that was Now that I looked at it, the citadel was a good description of the towering structure. I stopped walking and noticed that I had to cross a sort of rope bridge to gain access to the joint. Enter the citadel, Jericho. The voice urged me. You enter it, I spat, glancing over the edge of the rushing river that was a sickeningly long way down. I ain't about to cross that thing. I don't do honey, so I can't say, but he says it'll work. Don't do honey? I missed something. Are you afraid? No, I just don't want to die from a rickety rope bridge, all right? I said, annoyed that the voice sounded almost amused at my expense. And for the record, I've crossed bridges like this before, thank you very much, but none of them were 1,000 years old. You're talking about... Oh, okay. Okay, cool, Shirley. It will not break. Prove it, I said smugly, not expecting anything, especially for someone to materialize 3 feet to my left and scare me half to death. Whoa, who are you? I asked the woman, stepping away quickly. She had arrived in a crouch as if she were afraid to fall down if she appeared any other way. Slowly, the black-garbed woman stood, her face turned towards the temple thing and her eyes closed so I couldn't make out much more about her. I noticed her black cloak when she pulled the hood of it and said, "Follow me if you're afraid." And then she just strolled onto the raggedy bridge and its creaking glory without hesitation. I said I wasn't afraid, I said to her back. "Prove it," she said, using my own words against me. After a few seconds of debate, I decided that after all, it was a dream, and I would probably wake up before I hit the icy river. "So what's your name?" I asked when I made it to her side and we resumed our trek across the bridge. "Sybil," she said. "Prophetess," I said with a knowing nod. I figured I'd dream about destiny hookum when I finally get actual dreams. "You're not dreaming, Jericho," Sybil said, and I chuckled and shook my head slightly. "Whatever," I said. "What is this place then, Sybil?" "All of your questions will be answered inside," she said calmly. "You won't tell me anything before I go in?" "No." "Not much of a sharer, are you?" I told her, peering off in wonder at the massive structure we finally stepped off the rope bridge towards, which, might I point out, wasn't exactly as unsafe as I had originally thought. In front of us now was a long, frozen courtyard leading to a wide set of steps that went all the way to the large doors of the citadel. "Come," Sybil said to me. I followed her without thinking, but we hadn't gone far when I stopped, frowning when I looked at the ice sculptures all around the large courtyard. "You've seen this before," Sybil said to me, her face still away from me, "when you met Stargazer." "Yeah," I said, not really thinking about her knowing that, because like I said, "You're not dreaming, Jericho," Sybil said again, this time with a little more power behind her voice. She turned for the first time and I saw her face. She was pale, her face was framed in red curls, and her eyes looked strange, too strange, and I'd seen that before as well. "You're blind," I said simply. "Like Stargazer, yes. All partisans become blind sooner or later from the overexposure within the citadel," she said, her face blank. "I still see, just not the way you do." She walked slowly towards me, pulling off her hood and letting her red hair spill out onto her shoulders. Watching her approach, I began feeling strange. When the woman who looked around her early 40s stopped in front of me, I took in her chiseled features and blank eyes. I knew somehow or another that I wasn't dreaming and that this really was happening to me. Right then. One side of Sybil's mouth lifted into an almost smile and she said, "This is real, Jericho, and I've been waiting on you for a long time." "Oh, hey! What up, bro? Hey, the author is in the house. Good morning. Oh, what is up?" "Come with me into the citadel, and I will teach you all that you need to know." I followed her when she turned around again, but I was still having trouble processing what was happening. "What did you say that you were?" "I am a partisan," she answered. "Partisan," I repeated. "Okay, what is it you do?" "I help you." "But how?" "Every paladin is assigned a partisan at the beginning of his or her crusade to aid the paladin in any way they can. Primarily, we stay here in the citadel and are your eyes and ears wherever you are," she said, turning her head slightly towards me, "or whenever you are." We made it to the steps and Sybil stopped, and she must have felt, I guess, that I wasn't following her anymore. "So what happens when I go in?" I asked, my mouth feeling dry. "You will discover your destiny," Sybil said, "your true purpose, paladin, and not the many given to you by others. Now, come." "Yeah, we definitely have to do another question and answer." "No," I said quickly. I was scared for some reason, and I wasn't about to set foot in that place. "You're a paladin, Jericho," she said, her white eyes on me. "I'm not," I told her, shaking my head. "All my powers are gone. I lost them a few days ago." Sybil walked back to me and held up a hand close to my face. May I? I wasn't sure what she was doing, but I figured it couldn't have been nearly as bad as going into the Citadel. Knock yourself out. She laid her icy hands on my cheek and closed her blind eyes. I didn't get a jolt of power or anything, really, and after a minute, Sybil removed her hands from my face. And then she slapped me hard. How could you be so selfish? She asked violently, and I even shrank away from her for a second before realizing how stupid it was to be afraid of a blind woman. What are you talking about? I asked angrily. My powers stopped on their own in... It was you, she said, her voice quiet again, and her face was aimed at the ground. You were selfish, thinking only of yourself, and your entire being rejected the process. Here's a tip, I told her harshly. Next time you pick a paladin, why don't you grab a baby who's never had a life so you can train him up to not have feelings or emotional attachments like a damn Jedi and leave the grown folk alone. Partisans are chosen much like paladins, but they have no control over who the next paladin will be, she said. What do you mean by the next one? I couldn't help but ask. Sybil shook her head. I cannot tell you. Of course you can, I muttered, sighing before saying, look, obviously whoever's in charge here has got the wrong guy this time around, so can you please just send me back now or whatever? She was quiet for a short time, but she seemed to be trying to keep her mouth shut. I wasn't sure if she was trying not to berate me or tell me something that she shouldn't, being as how I wasn't a paladin and all. She finally said, yes, you may go. Come here. I walked to her, and she lifted her hand to my forehead, stopping before she touched me. Is there anything else you want to know about yourself before you go? It was strange to hear her stammer some because she was almost robotic in her fluid movements and speech. I told myself my final question was just going to make Sybil feel better before I left, but really it was because I needed to know. Can my paladin status ever be reinstated? Sybil let out a breath that I hadn't realized she was holding, and I saw that this was what she had been hoping I would ask her. That is up to you, Jericho, she said, laying her hand on my forehead. I can't make you do anything, nor can anyone else. Whether or not you become a paladin again will be your decision alone. So, I just get back and decide I'm going to be a paladin again? I asked. No, Sybil said, and I felt myself slipping away then. Just remember that you're a paladin with or without powers, Jericho. Never forget that. Dun dun dun! All right, John, how did I do with Sybil? Do we like Sybil's voice? Was that a good voice for her? Should I keep that voice for her? Let's see, how long is chapter 50? Oh, I think I might be able to get chapter 50 in. Should we do chapter 50? He had to leave for therapy. Oh, bye to therapy. All right, well then we'll call it because I do have to go get Zoe. I was going to do it really fast if John was still here so that he could hear it, but we will do it tomorrow morning or maybe later. Well, we're definitely going to do a slime live tonight. Definitely doing a slime live tonight. Maybe one this afternoon to try to catch more people for customs and whatever like that. I'm going to take Zoe to dance. Won't be on the next 2 days. Shelly, we'll miss you. Let us know how your trip is. Let us know that you arrived safely and everything. Yeah. No, I remember you were going on a business trip. We love you too. All right, I'm going to go take this munchkin to dance. I'll see y'all later.